We continue our pre-Iowa caucus coverage, moving from Ron DeSantis to Donald Trump. First clip I'll show you is Trump at a rally being called out for his corruption while he was president. And I'll show you the reaction. I'll give you my reaction to this moment and discuss the corruption to which I'm referring.
Everything was perfect. And I did three rallies.
You've taken millions.
Thank you, darling. Thank you. Thank you. That's all right. Go home to mommy. Your mommy's waiting. Go home to mommy.
Okay, so regardless of how you feel about heckling as a means of communicating your point, which I don't think it's that effective going to an event and shouting at somebody, but the point being made there is super important. Trump received millions upon millions upon millions of dollars while he was president from foreign governments through his businesses, something that by itself is outrageous, a violation of the Emoluments Clause of the Constitution, but also is double outrageous because Republicans don't care about it at all after they've been trying to fabricate similar allegations against Joe Biden. Again, fabrications. They don't have evidence, but they accuse Biden of receiving money from foreign governments. Then their guy actually, with the evidence-backed allegations being brought against him, is shown to have received money from foreign governments, again, through his businesses, and they don't care one single bit. Not a concern. Impeach Biden over something foreign government, but don't talk about that with Trump. Crazy. And I'll remind you of this clip while we're on this subject.
Saudi Arabia, and I get along great with all of them. They buy apartments from me. They spend 40 million, 50 million. Am I supposed to dislike them? I like them very much.
That was during the 2016 campaign. Again, imagine if you had a clip, if Republicans, I should say, had a clip of Biden saying something like that about foreign countries, and then along with it, hard evidence of money flowing to Biden from those very countries. That would be ridiculous. You would see, yes, right-wingers upset about it, and people on the left would be upset about it. Biden would probably be impeached and convicted by now. But again, with Trump, no problem at all. Then you have this clip, Trump saying, even if you're sick as a dog, even if you die right after, you better come and caucus for me.
You gotta get out. You can't sit home. If you're sick as a dog, you say, darling, I gotta make it. Even if you vote and then pass away, it's worth it. If you're sick, if you're just so sick you can't, darling, I don't think, get up.
Okay, I'll leave that one without much analysis. Then you have Trump at this same speech saying that Jimmy Carter is the happiest man right now because he doesn't look so bad in comparison to Joe Biden because of the disaster of Joe Biden's presidency, which I don't know if he's talking about the historically effective legislative record of Biden or the stunning economic recovery under Biden or what, but something is this huge disaster according to Trump when it comes to Biden's presidency, making Jimmy Carter's look not so bad in comparison. Thus, Jimmy Carter's such a happy guy. And the next sentence, Trump brings up the death of Jimmy Carter's wife. Take a look.
I always say Jimmy Carter's the happiest man alive right now, and it's good because he's somewhat elderly, right? Somewhat. My wife went to the funeral of Rosalind 2 months ago. It was a beautiful funeral. But Jimmy Carter's a happy man right now because people are considering, compared to Biden, his presidency to be a brilliant.
My guess would be Jimmy Carter isn't the happiest man alive after losing the love of his life, as Trump noted, then went on to continue saying, but because Biden's doing so bad, he's probably so happy. Then we move away from that speech to Trump in Des Moines talking to supporters and to reporters. And here he sort of starts, as he does every time he thinks there's a chance he could lose an election, thinking ahead to the New Hampshire primary, saying something fishy is going on there. So if I don't do so well, it's because something fishy, some fraud was taking place.
Good about something, then I won't say it. But we will say that in her case, she's absolutely not suited. But she's back with this Coke money. Americans, it's called Americans for Chinese Prosperity. Did you ever hear of Americans for Prosperity? Yeah, we call it Americans for Chinese Prosperity. It's a bad group. They're bad people, and we got to win. So they're doing that. They're fighting over here too, but it looks like they've been very ineffective. But in New Hampshire, they are actually signing people to vote. And I think that's disgraceful. I don't even know if they're allowed to do it.
What does that even mean? Signing people to vote? I don't know. But again, he's trying to set up his claims of fraud if he loses New Hampshire. To be clear, I think there's a chance he could lose New Hampshire. That's not going to impact the broader primary. He's going to go on to get the nomination most likely, unfortunately. But he doesn't even want to lose one single race, and so he'll claim it was stolen if he does, and he's setting it up there. Then you have this.
Because if it's up to the votes, we have so many votes, we don't even have to be here today, we don't have to campaign. But when they add millions of ballots, when they do what they did, when they go to legislatures and get rejected, and then they come down and they do it anyway, everything that they got rejected for, the legislatures rejected them. Republican legislatures usually, because the Democrats usually got what they want. But we're talking about...
So again, he says, we have so many votes, we don't even have to be here today. But when they do what they did, and then goes on to ramble, but the point he's making is, but we do have to be here because we're going to have to win by so much because they're probably going to try to steal it. But who's the they in that situation? The Republicans are part of the Democratic deep state, I guess. The same people who stole the election for Biden are going to steal it for Nikki Haley or something. I don't get even what the conspiracy theory is supposed to be, much less the belief in it, despite no evidence. But again, Trump is just in case throwing out some conspiracy theories, just in case he doesn't do as well as he'd like to. One prediction I'll make is in Iowa or New Hampshire, the ones that could be a little bit more close. If he still gets first place, but it's sort of close, I bet he's going to claim fraud. He's still going to win it, but he's going to claim fraud. It's sort of like whenever he won the Electoral College, became president in 2017 after the 2016 election, and then went on to say that it was stolen in a sense, or there was mass fraud, a bunch of undocumented immigrants stole the popular vote from him. And then he commissioned the investigation to find the proof, and obviously couldn't because that didn't happen. But it's just like that. He can't even win with integrity, much less lose, as we saw in 2020. And on that note, here's Jim Jordan at the previous event we were looking at, introducing Trump and talking about how Trump, he just hates to lose.
That office, I mean, this guy, the thing I love so much about President Trump is this guy hates to lose. Man, and that is we got Coach Gable here. Coach Gable knows a thing or two about not losing. Right, you follow Iowa wrestling. And Polly and I, we got to the hotel last night. We watched the Iowa basketball team. Watched this Caitlin Clark girl. She doesn't like to lose either.
Yeah, isn't it so great how Trump doesn't like to lose so much that he tried to overthrow American democracy when he did? Isn't that just the best characteristic about him? Do you remember that? When he was such a sore loser, he couldn't fathom the idea that he lost to Joe Biden and got trounced in the popular vote. Millions upon millions more Joe Biden received, and then in the Electoral College pretty solidly defeated Trump as well. And Trump was so sensitive, such a snowflake, that he got all of his allies to engage in what prosecutors have deemed a criminal conspiracy to block the peaceful transfer of power by trying to get fraudulent electors to be counted that weren't the actual lawfully selected ones, or pressuring Pence to just go along with that plan, or just altogether not certify the electoral count, or pressuring local election officials to engage in fraud. Or all these different wild schemes, his allies breaching voting machines, him inciting a mob to attack the Capitol to block certification of the election, all because, as Jim Jordan says, he just hates to lose. At some point, there actually is hating to lose too much that you would rather kill democracy than accept a loss. So generally, I agree. It's good to like to win, and to fight to win, but not when it means literally calling your followers to violently fight to win. Goodness gracious. Next clip here. Trump seems to allude to him being president more than 4 years if he won this election.
But nobody had to call me because I made the commitment and we kept you first in the nation. As long as I have anything to say about it, and that we have a good chance of saying for 4 years, we'll have a lot to say about it, 4 years and beyond.
4 years and beyond. Maybe he's saying after he was president, he would have something to say about it, but it feels iffy to me. And he's joked before about lifetime presidencies. Oh, we should try that here. I don't doubt the prediction that if not Trump himself, his followers will say, because the other one was stolen from him, he's owed more time or something crazy like that. We'll leave it there. In the next segment, I'll talk about Trump's supporters as we enter into the Iowa caucus.